Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. When will owners realize that happy workers will usually work harder for the company because they enjoy working there? Unhappy workers don't care and will do the bare minimum. That's what our first story's about. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. I got fired for not working overtime. I used to work in a local store that was kind of like a big box store, only smaller. Last week, the owners decided to do a 10% off everything in the store promotion, but they didn't go about it in the best way. First, they didn't tell the employees about it until it was happening, and customers were yelling at us about not getting their 10% off. Also, they didn't put any extra people on staff because they didn't realize how crazy the store would get. Usually on a 4-hour shift, I might get 10 people total at my register. Last week, I was on register for 4 straight hours with people coming through, no break, and no slowing down of customers. So of course, things were crazy all over the store. Stuff was a mess, so the owners were asking everyone to work OT. Some people were able to work lots of OT and wanted the money, but I could only work a little OT because I'm a single mom. My shifts were all arranged around my kids' school days and activities. On Halloween night, one of the owners asked if I can work OT that night, and I said no, because I was going to take my kids trick-or-treating. She begged me, but I said, I'm sorry, it's their favorite holiday, and I'm not going to make them miss it. Also, many of my young single co-workers who were with me told the owner they could stay till closing, so they had lots of extra hands on deck. Yesterday, I walked in to start my shift and the owner told me to come to her office, then fired me officially. She said that they needed someone more dedicated to the store and can't have me putting other things before my work. I'm PO'd because money's going to be really tight for a while, but no store's more important than my kids. Update. I applied for unemployment this morning and I'm pretty sure I'll get it. I did some online research and in my state, they can fire you without warning for any reason. I don't think I can sue because it's not illegal. I'll call the labor board to double check. Good news is that the daycare center I used to work at has an opening. My old boss is still there and she said she'd be happy to take me back. I have to do a formal application and everything, but I'm pretty much a shoo-in. Plus, free daycare for my kids. Retail managers need to learn that approximately nobody works retail because it's their dream job. And our second story. I did exactly what the forum told me to do. I'm involved with the HR department at work. Part of the more occasional administrative duties I do is processing change of details forms when people notify us of moving house, changing phone numbers, etc. A few months ago, a form was dropped off in our out-of-hours box with a change of address. Unfortunately, it was filled out poorly. The form only had a first name, let's say the name was Tom, of the employee, and the new address. The form itself asks for employee number, first and last name, and the old and new address to make sure we're updating the correct records. Since the company I work for is a large one, just under 2,000 employees, this is obviously not enough information to even know who dropped the form off. I checked our records and saw that we had 8 current employees with that first name. Since the old address wasn't specified, I couldn't even look up the addresses for those 8 to figure out which one it was. Given my workload, I didn't really have the capacity to go as far as checking the physical personnel files in the hope of comparing the handwriting, so I just set the form to the side and continued with more pressing work, like invoices. Eventually, I decided to just keep the form in a folder on my desk so that if it was ever queried, I had the evidence to show I couldn't do anything with it. About a month ago, we did a mail out to certain staff to confirm and advise of some wage increases. As you may have guessed, our friend Tom was one of those affected. After he didn't receive his letter, he came by the HR office to complain. Tom, I never got this letter about my wage increase. What the hell? I'm entitled to this. I want my increase. Rabble, rabble, rabble. Me, calm down, Tom. You definitely have a letter. I mail merged them myself. I'll do a reprint for you right now if you like. Tom, yeah, that'd be good. Me, prints off another copy of his letter and hands it to him. Tom, well, that explains a lot. You never processed my change of address. Me, internal aha moment as I remember the change of address without any useful information Oh, did you mean this one? I get it from my folder and show it to him. Tom, yeah, that's the one. Why the hell haven't you done anything with it? Me, well, you've only put your first name here. We've got about 8 Toms total, and there was no old address to be able to compare it to. Tom, well, someone should have told me. Me, how would we do that when we don't even know who filled this out? Tom, fine. I have to go back on duty now. I'll drop another one off tonight. Me, no worries. I'll be sure to process it for you first thing tomorrow. Tom, whatever. Me, internally, F you too, buddy. The next morning, sure enough, there was a new form in the out of hours box, complete with sarcastic underlining of his employee number and name. As I update his details, I see that he's put something under the preferred name option. This is intended for people to have whatever name they prefer as their first name on things like the company directory. Preferred name as in shortening Matthew to Matt, Kimberly to Kim, or somebody with an international legal name preferring to go by an English name. For the sake of this, we'll pretend that Tom's last name is Jones. Obviously, Tom Jones isn't his real name. I just went with an alternative that'll help this bit make sense. Tom had put his preferred name as Jonesy. He has one of those last names that can become a nickname if you add a Y to the end of it. Apparently, that's what his manager and others in his department call him. Since Tom clearly wanted me to update all of his details correctly this time, I did exactly as he told me to do and entered Jonesy as his preferred name. Once the intranet updated overnight, the employee directory now knows him by his preferred name, showing him as Jonesy Jones. About a week after that change took hold, his manager sent me a screen cap of Jonesy and asked why it was showing him as Jonesy Jones. I sent him the scanned forms and the short version of the story, asking if he wanted me to change it back. He replied, well, you did exactly what he told you to do. It's right there on the form. If he wants to change it back, he can do another form. If he's a smart butt about it again, let me know and I'll take care of it. And our last story. Neighbors think my life now revolves around them. So on today's episode of WTF from the neighbors, I need to have them approve when I do things that make any sort of noise. My neighbor just rang my doorbell to tell me his wife said to stop hammering. I was dumbfounded. I just kind of stared and said, "Excuse me?" And he informed me that we'd be unable to make any sort of noise for the next few months because of their baby, to which I laughed in his face and closed the door. And now his wife is screaming at my door and he's messaging me to please just do what his wife says. So some background. My spouse bought this house in 2011. Both houses are single-family detached homes. Both lots are 1.5 lots, so there's roughly 33 feet between our houses compared to the 6 feet for the rest of the street. Neighbor husband was already in his house. I moved in 8 years ago. Shortly after, saw the neighbor for the first time, and it was someone I've known since I was 4. Went to school all the way through high school together. We're 40. 3 years ago, he met someone. She had at the time a 2-year-old girl. She would stay at his house and I would constantly find the kid wandering the streets. They would just send her outside with no supervision, no toys, no fenced yard, and expect her to entertain herself. The child was, and still is, nothing but a brat. 2 years ago, she moved in with her daughter. I run a daycare, so my yard is full of fun toys, but we also have 3 other fenced-off areas, one for our pool in the summer, one for our dogs, and one for our hot tub. All have separate fences and self-closing gates, plus my external fence is 6 feet. During 2020, when COVID hit bad, the kids were doing virtual schooling from home. She never actually did it. She would be ringing my doorbell in the middle of the day, asking me to open my yard for her. I would explain that she can't be here when I have daycare kids, and my daughter will come out to play after supper. She went to their backyard, dragged patio furniture to my fence, and climbed in. Who knows how long she was actually in there, but she decided she was done and then couldn't get out. The latch for my main gate is at the very top, so the babies can't open it when my back is turned. She started screaming. I ran out in a panic, took her home, explained what happened to Mom, and Mom gave me crap for just not allowing her to play. I face a $100,000 fine if she's caught on my property during daycare hours. I explained this. She still snapped and called me a bee. I left it at that. Happened a handful more times. I started sending them daycare invoices. Still kept happening. I finally told them I would have to call the police next time, which I did. Except this time, Mom and Grandpa were both sitting outside on the stairs and watched her do. Also, never bothered to come help her open the gate when she started screaming. Police gave them crap and told them to stop or Mom would be charged. I now have proximity sensors at the top of my fence and get a notification if anything goes over my fence. It's gotten better as she's gotten older. So last summer we set up our above-ground pool. Just ordered a new pump system and heater. Pool was half filled. I'd also just done up all my planters. I casually glance at my security cameras and see her by the pool. I head out. Main gate was open as the neighborhood kids were running from yard to yard playing. She took it upon herself to go to the pool and take buckets of soil from my planters and dump it into the pool. $400 damage to my brand new $1,000 pump/heater system that was up less than 4 hours. I snapped and screamed at her to get out of my yard and not come back. She's not allowed in my yard at all unless me or my spouse is out there. Now to current time. They had a new baby last week, and me hammering in my basement is disturbing them in their house 33 feet away, and they expect me to wait until the fall to finish my project. So I'm currently sitting on my bench outside enjoying a glass of water with my outdoor speakers playing metal while I mow the lawn, which is much louder than a little bit of hammering. I'll finish that tonight after dark. People like this need to learn a lesson the hard way. She wants to play stupid games, so I'll let her win stupid prizes. I spent a couple $100 to get a lawyer to send her papers saying that they're no longer welcome on the property, and next time they enter my yard, it's considered trespassing. I put up a couple cameras to monitor and record my private property for evidence. It's obvious they're abusing my good nature. Oftentimes, a hit to the wallet's the only thing that gets attention with people like this. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.